So I'm taking notes right now.
Good evening and welcome to the San Bruno City Council meeting of January 27, 2015. I'd like to thank the Garden Club for the flowers they always provide for our meetings. Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember O'Connell?
Here.
Councilmember Medina?
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Here.
Oh, no. Vice Mayor Salazar?
Here.
Mayor Ruane?
Here. Vicki, lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent job.
Item number 6 is, announcements. There aren't any this evening. Presentations. There aren't any this evening. Item number 5, review of the agenda. If there's no objection, I'd like to move item number 11, which is the annual report from the Community Preparedness Committee to right after public hearings, number 8. And approval of the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of January 13, 2015, and special council meeting of January 13, 2015. Any errors, corrections, omissions? Seeing none, they'll be approved as submitted. The consent calendar, all items are considered routine or implemented earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested by a council member, citizen, or staff.
Through the chair,
Michael?
I'd like to pull item D, please.
Item D. Anyone else? Action by the council?
Move to approve the remainder. Second.
Motion second to approve items A, B, and C of the consent calendar. On the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item D is waive the second reading and adopt an ordinance approving a development agreement with Castle Companies for construction of 10 new homes in the Crestmore neighborhood. Michael?
Thank you. I know that there was a meeting, I believe, last week with the residents in the area, and I was just wondering if staff had any feedback from that meeting.
Yes, City Council, there was a neighborhood meeting regarding the 10-lot proposed project, and the neighborhood meeting was put on by Castle Companies, the developer of the project, and it was an opportunity for Castle Companies to introduce themselves and their proposed plans for the 10 replacement homes in the Crestmore area. And the overall presentation went very well. It was an opportunity for the neighbors to not only meet the architect and the representatives of Castle Companies, but also to get an opportunity to see the proposed plans for the first time. And they had about 4 different base plans with different front elevations for those 4 base plans, and then 2 other plans as well. They show the exterior elevations as proposed, different color options, and floor plans. And I think that generally the proposed plans were well received by the neighbors that attended. There were approximately 40 people who attended the meeting. There were a number of questions about the plans themselves. The Castle Companies representatives and architect responded to those questions. And it was kind of the first opportunity to present the overall proposal for the replacement homes. There will be follow-up meetings, city meetings. This was a developer meeting, but there will be follow-up meetings of the proposed project, and the follow-up meetings first before the Architecture Review Committee in February, on February 12th, and we're anticipating having that meeting at City Hall at 567 El Camino Real, and there'll be notices sent out for that meeting. And the Architecture Review Committee will evaluate the plans for the replacement homes. And then there'll be a follow-up meeting before the Planning Commission, the San Bruno Planning Commission, and we're anticipating that that meeting will be on March 17th here at the Senior Center. And so that's an overview of the neighborhood meeting that occurred on the 21st.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any action by the council on item 7D?
With that, I will make a motion to approve item D.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 8, public hearings. There aren't any this evening. We're going to move right to item number 11, which is the annual report from the Community Preparedness Committee.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'd like to introduce Mike Ward, who's the chairperson of the committee. Mike, if you want to introduce your fellow members.
This is Dina. This is Mond. George over here. Is there a presentation? Mr. Mayor, council members, staff, public, thank you for your interest tonight.
Right
and
into that
every day.
microphone.
The San Bruno Community Preparedness Committee has a mission statement. The San Bruno Community Preparedness Committee promotes emergency preparedness, planning, and education to prepare residents to mitigate the potential consequences of natural and human-made disasters. As a roll call, 2013-2014 members. The members, George and Dina, served as chair and vice chair over the last 2 years. Steve Johnson retired this last year. Ron Lapidus, myself, Mon Magia are members. City Council liaisons, thank you for your support over the last 2 years. The city liaisons, we really appreciate your support. In particular, Tim Mahon and Dave Cresta, who attend our monthly meetings that are every third Thursday at 6:30 in the basement of the City Hall. Ex officio members, Brian Mulvar with the OES district, and especially Walt Long, San Bruno Amateur Radio Volunteer Liaison. I'd like to say that the city is very lucky to have Walt volunteering his time as much as he does. 2013 accomplishments, continue to promote community preparedness, CERT, at city and county events. There was the Skyline College Health Fair, the Posey Parade, the San Mateo County Prep Day, the San Bruno Prep Day, Farmers Market Community Outreach. If you happen to go to any of these events, be sure to look us up, stop by and say hello. 2013 accomplishments, here's a picture example of the 9th Annual San Mateo County Disaster Prep Day. And like a good neighbor, San Bruno was there. 2014 accomplishments, continued support of San Bruno CERT program. San Bruno amateur radio volunteers participated in county drills. Continued emergency preparedness message for San Bruno Cable in English and Spanish. Collaboration with the San Bruno Park School District as well as San Bruno Cable, and the Centennial Celebration. We all realize that disaster has no address. It can happen anywhere at any time. SMC Alert is a notification system through text and emails that can notify residents about emergency situations. The residents who get these notifications then can take steps to mitigate the potential ramifications of the emergency situation, as well as plan for the future, which is what we try to promote. San Bruno has started to send SMC alerts messages, and there's over 2,500 people signed up so far. I'd like to congratulate San Bruno for sending out an SMC alert this week regarding the fire on El Camino. Much appreciated. Here's a picture of our participation at Centennial Day in the park. Good time was had by all. CERT training continues. CERT, or Community Emergency Response Team, is a training program that San Bruno implemented a couple years ago now, so it's relatively new. I want to just take briefly, a couple minutes to run through what's involved in CERT training. Disaster awareness and preparation. There's 3 things I want you to remember about that. The first is have a plan. So you have to understand what disasters are likely to happen and what response you should have. You need to take into account your personal situation. Do you have a long commute? Do you have pets? Do you have children in school? Do you require special medications or special food requirements? All those things you have to consider. And the second thing you need to consider is have a kit or have a pack. You should have one in your car, in your home, and at work. And the third thing is to stay informed. So by participating in CERT, that's a beginning. You need to be involved in SMC Alert and follow the Red Cross websites for additional training information. Disaster skills. Do you know how to put out a fire? Disaster medical. It's too late after the disaster happens. This program teaches things all the way from bandages up to CPR. Light search and rescue. Teaches you how to safely get into the building, how to safely get somebody out, and how to take care of them safely outside of the building. Disaster psychology and terrorism. A big disaster is a life-changing event, folks. How do you keep your head on straight? How do you keep other people's head on straight? This foundation level CERT training class teaches that. Team communications, organization, and management. What this teaches is how to come together as a team and respond to emergencies as a community when the city services may not be available. And probably more importantly to the city, it teaches how to then communicate as a team rather than a group of individuals so that the city can understand what's going on in the city from the CERT members. Skills development application, hands-on experience. Through this training, people go through hands-on experience through varied situations. My favorite was putting out fires with a fire extinguisher. That was fun. Radio volunteers, an important aspect of emergency preparedness in San Bruno. Meetings convened at the San Bruno Resource and Recovery Center. Membership attendance at meetings increased. There was collaboration with the Millbrae Radio Club. Club bylaws were developed. The meetings returned to the San Bruno Emergency Operations Center, and the volunteers participated in Silver Dragon, Golden Guardian County exercises. I'd like to point out that the radio volunteers have what's called a net, or they all call in and communicate together as a community every Monday. And if there's any interest in that, there's information on the city's website under Fire Department News. Here's a bunch of happy faces of radio volunteers. As the incoming chair of this committee this year, this is probably my favorite slide, the 2015 goals. Our goal is outreach to nonprofit schools. So if little Jenna in 3rd grade is at school, how does her parents know how to communicate to her, or Jenna to communicate to the parents if in the event of a disaster? Our hope is we can help schools with that. More information on the city website to keep CERT members engaged. Other cities have done this. Again, it's a progressive thing. San Bruno has started with what's called catch and release, where you train some people, but now it's progressively got to the point where they need to come together as a team. And so by having a website, that's a first step in engaging members to get re-engaged as members of the CERT community. And along with that, start an online sign-up for CERT classes. And I'm very happy that the city has actually already started on this, so our goals are already in progress. Also, we want to do a Do You Know series on San Bruno emergency preparedness, collaborating with cable and specifically the What's Going On Around Town series, to have some additional focus on emergency preparedness. New generation SMC Alert, continue to sign residents up. This is an area where the committee needs to be aware of the strategy of the city on SMC Alert so that we can continue to promote it in its best light. With that, I'd like to say, San Bruno, get your prep on.
Any questions? Ken?
I feel bad that I'm not CERT trained, but my life, I can't commit to 10 consecutive weeks. And I know that there are trainings that are going on, on a Saturday. So, is there what's in store this coming year so that some of us that have full weekly lives, can possibly do a CERT in one weekend or one day?
I think that's a question for city staff.
Sure. CERT's a kind of specific time element. We're looking at doing it more condensed, so we're going to look at doing classes maybe 2 days a week if that fits schedules to get them done quicker. You're always welcome to come by and evaluate and observe the program. Also, FEMA and other CERT websites have general information about how to be prepared, kind of some steps to take in disasters that are always important to review. You could do some self-study on that for those that can't right now commit to a CERT class.
Plan in the pack.
Okay.
Anyone else? Irene?
I don't have a particular question, but I really admire all of you. Keeping alert and planning for something that might happen is really a commitment, because we all probably have our earthquake things, and then a year later we empty them out because things have expired, and then we don't put them back together. And well, at least I didn't. Now I will. I'll go home and make sure I put mine back. But it's something that you really have to believe in and keep going, because it may never happen. Hopefully it will never happen, but you have to be prepared for it. So I really admire you all, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Add to that, because you don't necessarily have to sign up and commit to the full 20-hour CERT program. They're individual sessions. So if you just wanted to take the basic preparedness, that's 2 hours, you could do that. So you don't have to take it necessarily and sign up for the entire series. You can break it apart. So just to mention that to everybody, and take the classes that you're interested in, or at least get your basic plan and communications down.
Good. And as we say to all our commissions, boards, and committees, you're the lifeblood of San Bruno. A lot of people don't realize the underlying commitment that everyone makes, not just our committee here this evening, but all of the committees. It's all volunteer, behind the scenes for the most part, but you did some great preparation and some great service during a disaster we had that was totally unexpected. So we appreciate all your efforts in the past and going forward. So thank you very, very much. Okay, item number 9, public comment on items not on this agenda. It is the council's policy to refer matters raised in this forum to staff for investigation and interaction where appropriate. The Brown Act prohibits the council from discussing or acting upon any matter not agendized pursuant to state law. If you'd like to address the council on items not on this agenda, please step to the podium and just tell us your name and your street.
My name is Colleen O'Donnell, and I live on Allen Drive.
Go ahead.
I'm new to this process. I've never spoken before the council. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight actually after a long day, being gone, leaving work from San Bruno to my school where I teach high school down the peninsula. And I feel like I would like to speak on behalf of all the parents of San Bruno who have their kids in schools in San Bruno, who are probably not able to be here tonight because they're either working elsewhere or they're at home preparing dinner or bathing their kids, getting them ready for bed, like my husband is at home doing right now with our daughter. Although we've lived in San Bruno for a number of years, I feel that, at least I'll speak for myself, in that I've been somewhat asleep, I think, as to what's really appears to be going on in terms of the state of the school district. I certainly was well aware of the closure of the school recently. I was aware of the measures on the recent ballot, although I have to say that I didn't see a lot of publicity or public information about them, so I'm not surprised at some of the outcome. But now that we have a 6-year-old daughter and we opted to enroll her in the public school system for a variety of reasons, one of them being staying contained within our community, getting her involved, having a good education and she's at Portola, so being a California Distinguished School. It's been a positive experience. We're really grateful for Principal Rohrbach, for Mrs. Byrne, for all of the people there. And now that we are suddenly becoming awakened to the state of affairs, really getting more of a concrete experience of what I understand to be a $2.1 million structural deficit. Now that I am a direct stakeholder with my family, I'm very concerned. I don't know how many parents are going to be able to come forward immediately and express our concern. And my understanding, although it may be completely flawed because I'm new to some of this, is that, at least from the recent news article, that the teachers who haven't allegedly have had a cost of living increase in the last 8 years, my understanding is that in coming forward and requesting one, the response has been that they may have to take a decrease in pay. I speak both as a parent of a kindergartner in the district and also as a teacher myself when I say, with all respect to all the members involved, I think that that is a gross, obscene insult to the teachers' work. We teachers sometimes fall prey to the line that we get a summer, that we get a great summer, that we have great benefits, and frankly, anything that teachers are paid, I can tell you that if you break it down dollar for dollar, it does not cover what teachers do. And I really hope that the whole city, all the members, all the stakeholders will take this very seriously. I'm sure that there has been a great deal of work done to try and make things work, to make the system work that I am completely new to and ignorant of. But now that I feel that my family is awakened, I hope that more community members will wake up, rise up, and have something to say about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, and I apologize. I know this is public comment, and thank you very much for coming down. I can just tell you this much, that there is a parent meeting at the rec center just down the street that started at 7 o'clock for some parents who are concerned as you, and we're meeting to come up with some solutions and thoughts. I do happen to know that, so I wanted to let you know that as well. And I can assure you that we've been following it as well. That's how I know about the meeting and the Facebook posts. And so, but thank you for alerting everybody else as well as reminding us.
You should know we are well aware, so please.
Good evening, Shirley Falk, Steve Cliffway. I'm just going to piggyback from what she's saying. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council members. My name is Shirley Falk, and I'm sure you guys all know what's going on with the San Bruno Park School District. And I, want to just share with you tonight some of the comments and feelings that I'm hearing from teachers and school staff because it's really affecting them. So one of the teachers shared with me, as some of you already know, the teachers have not had a pay raise in 8 years. We haven't even received COLA, which is the state's yearly cost of living increase, which is approximately a 20% pay cut over the 8 years. We also have had to contribute more each year towards our medical. This is a 20% to 25% increase of out-of-pocket for teachers for their health coverage. The three added together, no raise, no COLA increases, and yearly out-of-pocket increases for medical, have become a huge burden for my family. The district has offered us a 10% pay cut across the board. SBPSD teachers are the lowest paid teachers in San Mateo County. San Francisco just received a 12% pay raise, and Millbrae 5%. SBPSD teachers are asking for an 8% pay raise. We also hold the distinction of having the highest number of children in our classrooms. We average 31 and the county 26. I want to be valued and compensated for my hard work. Another school staff shared with me, there are some of us who have been here for a long time. We love our jobs, but how can we love our jobs if the school district is going to degrade us by cutting our salaries? I've had a lot of jobs in my life, but this is the best one I've ever had. I love what I do for the kids, but I can't continue to do this if I can't even support my own family and pay my mortgage, especially now that they are offering to cut my salary. This is so hard for me to hear because personally I have 2 little ones. One of them is a special needs child that attends the special daycare school in Rollingwood and completely loves and adores his school van driver who picks him up and drives him and drops him off with the most cheerful greeting and his famous high five when he leaves his van. And he also has a special education preschool teacher who advocates and fights for the best interests, for his best interests every chance she gets. And also we have Kyle, who's right here, his kindergarten teacher and his first grade teacher who we've become to know and truly appreciate. They have been so instrumental in teaching Kyle school fundamentals, but also instilling life skills and values to help me prep him to become, in the future, a responsible, kind, self-sufficient, well-rounded young man. I'm sure other parents will have their own personal stories of all the other teachers in San Bruno Park School District, so you will ultimately hear the parents don't want any of the teachers to leave. But we understand the financial challenges they face in staying put. So we would like you to help in any way possible. I know your hands are tied because the school board is the governing body of the district. But I know you all are very committed to the community you serve. So I urge you to take part in this discussion and use your own personal skills and resources to help find a solution to this matter. Thank you so much for your time and effort. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I did receive your email earlier today, so thank you for coming this evening. Thank you. Next.
Robert Rico, 7th Avenue, new subject real quickly. When can we get an update on the status of the grade separation, including our arch, and when might the city be able to sign off on the completed project? Thank you.
Thank you.
Russ Steins, Reed. For the sewer lateral study that we just did in there, from the 2009 chart to the 2014 chart, we have spent $2.1 million, I believe, which if we were responsible for 3,000 sewer laterals right now at $7,000 lateral, it seems to me that we could have just replaced them all. That's number one. So it seems like there shouldn't have been a problem. The other thing is, you know, we did come up increasing the water and sewer rate to get a new water system and a new sewer system, 50%, 10% over a 5-year period, which equals 50% more. It seems to me when this whole major plan was being thought out over all these years and it's all wanting to be done, how nobody possibly thought that putting a new sewer lateral in from the street to the property line of the resident wasn't included in this bundle of joy. That's number two. And the last thing is, I asked you guys for to increase notification from 300 to 600 like other cities. I just was wondering if you guys have taken that into consideration at all. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, right on to item number 10, which is, one more.
Hi, I'm Ken Kreisel, San Bruno Senior Advisory Board. In November, the advisory board here at the center authorized the purchase of a refrigerator. And since then, we've gone through what we've been told is bureaucratic things that we have to go through to get the refrigerator. Now, it was supposed to be on the agenda that you people, you guys, would approve this today. But I was told that it didn't make it on the agenda. Now, I don't know how long it takes. You have to notify to get on the agenda, but we had it in our minutes on last Tuesday's meeting that it would be on this agenda, the agenda for tonight, and it's not there. If you want to go look at the refrigerator, we got pans underneath it that catch all the drippings, but somehow or other, it's just not getting done. And they're going to put it on the agenda 2 weeks from tonight. And then it'll take another month to get the refrigerator. So it just seems to me that not getting done here. I mean, the advisory board authorized the purchase of it. We're going to put the money from our money that we have through the nutrition program, but we have no refrigerator. It's still being tossed around, basically. So I don't know what you guys can do or make for sure that it gets on the next agenda. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Okay. We will see what we can do about that. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, item 10, conduct of business. Our first item, item A, adopt a resolution accepting the city's comprehensive annual financial report and Measure A funds audit report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2014.
Technical difficulties here. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Tonight you have before you the city's 2013-14 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or CAFR, and the audit of the Measure A funds for your review and approval. And I do apologize for getting the Measure A report delayed. It was an oversight on my part, and I did make a note of it to make sure it's in the packet next time. The annual audit was completed on December 29th, 2014 by the city's independent auditors, Vavrnik, Trine, Day and Company, and the city was issued an unmodified or clean opinion. It should also be noted that for the 4th year in a row, the city was awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, for the 2012-13 CAFR. Tonight we have the audit partner from Vavrnik, Trine and Day, Ahmad Gurba, in charge of the city's audit, and he's going to give us a brief overview of the reports before you this evening.
Good evening. My name is Ahmad Garaibe. I am the partner in charge of the audit of the city's financial statements. This is the annual financial report. It's a comprehensive annual financial report. The scope of the audit is to ensure that the financial statements are fairly stated. The financial statements are provided to us by the city's management, and our job is to ensure that the amounts that are reported on the financial statements are fairly stated. What we do is we confirm the balances, we confirm your property taxes, we confirm your sales tax, we confirm different accounts that are reported on the balance sheet, cash balances, receivables, and so on and so forth. And then at the end, we are required to opine on the fair presentation of these financial statements and render an opinion on these financial statements. The opinion on the financial statements, I'm pleased to let you know that it is a clean opinion, which means that these financial statements are fairly stated in all material respect. In addition, you are a local government. You also receive grant funding such as Measure A. We as auditors are required to report to you non-compliance with the laws and regulations and let you know if we have modifications to the opinion. Over and above, we look at your controls. We are required to communicate to you any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses noted in the internal control. When we're talking about internal control, we talk about the manner that you process cash receipts, cash disbursements, the manner that you process payroll. So we take a look at the internal controls that are followed by city staff, and we are required to report to you whether we noted any deficiencies in these controls as to how they are designed. And I'm pleased to let you know that we noted no exceptions with respect to the opinion on compliance, and we noted no exceptions with respect to reporting to you whether we noted any deficiencies in the internal control. We encountered no difficulties in the performance of the audit. The city's management and city staff has been very interactive and proactive in ensuring that our audit recommendations or any questions that they had or any recommendations, any new accounting pronouncements has always been communicated between us and the management, and very cooperative, and we finalized the audit, and the audit went very smoothly. So we encountered no difficulties in the performance of the audit. Some highlights of the city's financial statements. You're going to look at the main financial statements are located on page 19 and 21 of the financial statements. It's basically a balance sheet and an income statement. They call it a statement of net position. It has some 2013 comparative data in there. What you're going to notice is that equity for the city-wide financial statements is about $128 million. Most of it is invested in capital assets. The unrestricted equity is about $20 million. But it's a combination of the utility funds and then the governmental funds. You do have that pension obligation in there, so when we're talking about the governmental activities, the financial statements is showing a combined equity of about $7 or $8 million. Some of it is restricted, some of it is unrestricted. The income statement, again, it's noted on page 21 and 22. They call it the statement of activities. It shows that the revenues specifically for the business type activities exceeded the expenses by about $12 million. But again, although revenues had increased, the city had some capital projects with respect to the enterprise funds.
Yeah, and I wanted to jump in there too, because of the rate increases that was expected, and that money is allocated to capital infrastructure improvements.
From a governmental perspective, revenues equated to expenses. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Revenues exceeded the budget by about $4 million. And the reason that it's higher than the budget is due to the state of the economy. Higher property taxes, higher sales taxes were coming in. Some additional RDA fundings, higher motel taxes. Basically, it's just the state of economy, obviously, and hence the increase in the revenues. Expenses remained almost about at the same level as budget, a slight variance in there as a result of salary savings. Reserves, they were, I believe, $16 million in the prior year. The combined between the general fund, the capital improvement reserve, and the emergency disaster, there are about $19 million. So it's about $3 million increase in the reserves. Significant accounting pronouncements upcoming in the subsequent year. We have GASB 68, which requires local governments to recognize pension liabilities on the financial statements. The way, and specifically in California, the way pension is organized is that it's administered by CalPERS, which is in Sacramento. And what they were doing is they were polling all the local governments all together and just publishing one financial report showing the unfunded pension liability. Then this new pronouncement, effective for the next fiscal year, 2015, requires local governments to recognize their proportionate share of that pension liability. You also have previously your OPEB liability. Between those, we don't know what the final numbers are from CalPERS perspective. They're still performing the calculation. We do know that the OPEB liability, the unfunded liability, is disclosed in the financial statements. I believe it's about 40 million, 43 million. And then your share of that pension liability for CalPERS is an additional 40 million. That's about $80 million in unfunded liabilities. It's not a funding requirement. It's really a reporting requirement on the financial statements. It is indeed a liability that will end up being paid, but it will be paid over the next 30 or 40 years, I mean, depending on when people retire and how long they're going to be earning their pensions. Again, same thing, a discount rate for OPEB is about 4%. Again, it's a reporting requirement as opposed to a funding requirement. And with that, I'll be more than happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
The Chair, just on the liabilities, I wanted to talk about the long-term liabilities. Obviously, there's the retirement and there's other aspects. So how are we looking as far as long-term? Obviously, things are looking good today, but planning for the future and those expenditures and having to put away, and obviously it's out there down the road, but it will catch up to us someday.
That's correct. From a CalPERS perspective, in the past, and that practice is going to continue in the future. Every time the city processes payroll, they send them a check or a wire for pension contributions, and that pension is composed of two segments, one for active employees and another contribution amount is for retirees or past services. So from a funding requirement, CalPERS is ensuring and following up on the funding requirements and ensuring that at the end of the day, that pension fund in Sacramento will be able to meet its obligation requirements. From an OPEB perspective, when you look at the plan, it does not have any assets, and that it's just, it reports what the total liability is. But relatively speaking to other local governments, this is really the general practice, which is a pay-as-you-go. Again, these liabilities will be paid. I mean, in some instances, I was looking at one of those pension funds. It's going to take about 60 years until it gets paid because, people are active, and until they retire, and they continue to receive their health benefits, it's going to take a while until those payments are processed. So it's a long-term, it's a really long-term liability. And before GASB didn't really want these liabilities recorded on the financial statements. They're changing their minds little by little as we go along, and now they're requiring the cities or local governments to report these liabilities. But from a funding perspective, I would say that the city is probably healthier or comparable to other local governments in the state of California.
That was going to be my follow-up question, so thank you. That's it for now.
All right.
Good. Anyone else? Okay. We're asking for a resolution.
I'll introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Thank you. Item 10B, adopt a resolution approving the 2014-19 five-year capital improvement program and appropriating funding for the 2014-15 capital improvement program budget.
It's me again. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, tonight I am pleased to present to you the 2014-19 five-year capital improvement program and the one-year capital improvement budget for fiscal year 14-15. The five-year CIP identifies 59 projects with a total projected cost of $379 million. These projects were presented to the council at a study session held on December 22nd, 2014, so I won't go into a lot of detail. This first slide just shows you a brief overview of the 9 projects that we completed in 13-14. And these are some of the projects that are in progress. These are projects, just a snapshot. We have several that are actually in progress. These are ones that have actually had council action and are moving forward. There are 16 new projects, and again, this is not all of them. I just wanted to kind of pick out some of the main ones. As you can see, a lot of them fall under the city facilities and property improvements and the technology improvements. At the study session, we went over new priorities that had not been included in the budget, but we felt like they were critical and needed to be included. The first one is the Sharp Park Basin Sewer lateral video inspections, which is $65,000. This will allow staff to determine which laterals need to be repaired or replaced. And it's, I want to note that these costs are reflective of what will get these projects started. There may be ongoing costs, or we may be bringing these back. Shelter Creek is a survey. The City Park Stormwater Improvement, there's $50,000 budgeted for 14-15, but an additional $250,000 will be in 15-16. The $50,000 is to begin the design. And then grade 5 sewer critical main segment replacements, we have $350,000. We have the money already budgeted in the repair line. And so we believe there's sufficient funding already to get this project started, but we do have an additional $2 million in 15-16 to complete the project. Just a quick recap, the total request for 14-15 is approximately $26 million. or 25.5. Just the total combined, which includes carryovers, is a little over 55 million. And some of the projects this includes are the advanced water meter project, which is 5.1 million, the water tank replacement, 6.6. I won't go through all of them, but I will tell you that these total around 38.5 million, or 69% of the 55 that's budgeted. This slide is probably familiar. We went over at the study session. It shows you the total carryovers and a carryover. This is a multi-year budget, so carryovers are expected. Projects take several years to complete or to get started. So there is approximately almost $30 million in carryovers. In 14-15, we have 25.5 million budgeted for new projects. Finally, we have the vehicles and equipment. We have approximately $1 million budgeted for the equipment replacement. And just kind of wanted to, I know this was a question at the study session, just kind of wanted to go a little bit over the replacement fund. The purpose of the vehicle and equipment replacement fund is to ensure that adequate funds are available to purchase vehicles and equipment and to stabilize budgeting, especially in the general fund for major purchases. This is a huge benefit, a major advantage to department operating budgets because it negates big spikes up and down when you have large equipment that comes up. A thorough analysis of the city's vehicle and equipment replacement fund was performed in fiscal year 2008-09 in order to address the economic downturn. At that time, the amount was lowered, and that amount has not changed for the last 5 years. And this is not typical. Normally, you increase it by CPI in order to stay current with the purchases that you're purchasing, because obviously costs increase. We do plan on and have actually already started analyzing this. I have my staff working on this, getting this organized and getting ready to speak to the departments. And I do anticipate bringing both the operating and the CIP budget back to you in June. So hopefully we will have those questions addressed with the equipment replacement fund. And with that, I'm available for any questions, and Jimmy is also here to answer any questions about specific projects.
Good. Questions? Ken?
I just have a comment, and I mean, it's millions and millions of dollars, and I would just like, possibly in June, once these new projects and projects really get off the ground, is that we have a summary, for the benefit of the public. We hear it all the time how we've raised rates, and the rates are going into these capital improvement projects, and you're going to see these projects going on. We've got tanks that are now disassembled and gone, and construction's going to go on. So I think, as tough as it is to absorb rate increases that are going to be going on for the next few years, that they see where their money's going, and maybe not in this fashion. I know your numbers and all this stuff, but if we can just show them that this is how much money went in when the rate increase came into effect, and this is how much of this revenue is going into these types of projects, and we're on track. Because sometimes when we're going through these budgets, and sometimes when we're dealing with these individual projects when they come, I'm thinking, geez, they just know all this money's coming in, that they're just going to be, increasing it, doing this, doing that. But I think we need the confidence, the community needs the confidence that we are budgeting that part of the rate that, that they got hit with. So, thank you.
If I could just make a comment that I hope is somewhat responsive. I asked staff to prepare a summary using the capital budget document of projects that are actually moving, and the results are very impressive. We have approximately 12 projects, some of them very large projects, and commensurately expensive projects in progress right now, and another in the water and wastewater enterprises. And we have another about 6 or half a dozen projects that are expected to begin and receive work either for design or construction during the during the fiscal 14-15 budget cycle. In particular, a number of years ago, the City Council requested, and we have followed through with posting project signs at locations where work is underway that show both what the project is. It's unfortunate that we can't give on a sign a little blurb about why the project is important, but it does give the name of the project and the dollar amount. I happened to see the one and would invite you to take a ride up to the top of the hill at just off of San Bruno Avenue at Glenview to take a look at the construction site where our Glenview tank, our Glenview water tank is being replaced. It's actually pretty impressive. It's a massive construction site. It's a massive project. And I hope that these signs that are posted at these construction sites around town will assist the public in understanding. But I think your point is well taken, and we can certainly do a better job, perhaps, of posting information on our website. We've published in Focus, and we use any opportunity possible to discuss with the public what's going on and why it's important, and frankly, why it's so expensive.
Through the chair.
Irene?
I'd like to tag on to that. Maybe we could do something with cable and have them do around the town of what we're doing. And then when you do the summary for the council meetings, have some pictures. Pictures are always helpful, and especially when you see the big trucks and all the different construction going, you kind of get an idea of the massive not only cost, but what's happening. So maybe we can add that to it. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else, comments or questions?
Mr. Chair. A few things. I wanted to thank you for looking into the equipment reserve that I brought up in the study session. I hadn't realized that it was reduced, and I do remember that because of the tough times. I did not know that it was not increased. I'd like to know, and I know I'd asked for quite a bit, but I'd like to kind of know what it was on, what we're currently reserving in the equipment reserve fund today, what it has been. I know you're going to look through it with the departments, and I appreciate that. I'm curious when the last time that was audited by staff. I do appreciate having the equipment reserve fund. It has been very valuable and beneficial to the city. But like we said, and I did say, I wanted to make sure that we accrue at an appropriate rate, and those things that are on there have maybe possibly been eliminated from there. I do appreciate and thank you for wanting to merge together, shall we say, the budget and the CIP. Because here we are almost in February, and we're getting to the CIP. So that would be a great goal. I appreciate you bringing that up. As far as capital improvement, on the security of city facilities, that's something that I have an interest in, and not so much that it's not needed, but just as far as the aesthetics and the customer service that it gives and provides. Sometimes, and I know we have to have, I was a city employee too, so you want a safe work environment, but you also want something, since we're dealing with the public, that we don't lose that touch, if that's a possible way to do that. Also, there's an item in here for a video inspection truck. That's one thing also that I have an interest in. I'd like to see that come back. I'm questioning it's $215,000 new expenditure. I know it's stated that we need to video the lines, which is true. We've entered into some agreements, but do we need to have that? Is this $215,000 also include staff time for training, maintenance from the yard? Is it outsourced? Is it done in-house? $215 maybe get it in the door, but really what is the cost of that piece of equipment? So I want to see the beneficial and the value of it, because I don't know that the decree requires us to get it. It just requires us to video lines. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, we're looking for a resolution to be adopted.
I'll introduce the resolution.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilmember Medina?
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar?
Aye.
Mayor Ruane?
Aye. Item 10C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract in the amount of $70,135 with Civica Software to provide city website redesign and hosting services.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Eric Jackson. I'm the IT Manager, and I'm here tonight on behalf of our website committee to request that you authorize the execution of a website redesign and hosting services contract with Civica Software. The website redesign project was included in our 2014 and 2019 Capital Improvement Program budget, and our last major upgrade to our website was in 2008, over 7 years ago. And due to customer service expectations and innovations in technology, websites are now evolving from just information archives to portals where our visitors can actually access city services and conduct city business. And many of our neighboring cities are now following that trend. And aware of that trend, the City Council identified the redesign of our website as a directive and a high priority. And to achieve this directive, a website committee was formed comprised of city staff from all departments who are the largest contributors to our content editing and website support. The committee's task was to identify features and services to include on the new website and to create a very comprehensive request for proposals, or RFP. The goals of the RFP was to select a vendor that would focus on the delivery of services to our citizens and assist with creating an appealing design and modern look and feel website, meet or exceed ADA requirements, and provide multi-language support. Also to integrate a responsive design so that web pages, when viewed, will automatically adjust or scale properly when they're viewed on mobile devices, web browsers, and various screen sizes. We also wish to improve the search capabilities and navigation features for our visitors. Also to provide an efficient method for our citizens to submit requests, questions, or suggestions, and to automatically send them updates, status updates on their requests. To create a library of fillable forms, provide utility service signups, renew business license applications, apply for simple permits, schedule inspections, provide access to and integration with our recently upgraded GIS system. The RFP process generated 9 responses, and the committee reviewed each response and identified 3 top vendors that best demonstrated their ability to design the website envisioned. Department heads and council and committee members, attended demonstrations and graded each of the 3 vendors using a scoring matrix, which included rankings for the citizen request modules, compatibility with browsers, mobile device compatibility, impressions of other sites they created, ease of adding content and maintaining the site and web pages, project development and implementation plan, and training. Civica Software was selected as the best fit for the City of San Bruno needs. The committee determined that Civica's implementations of their citizen engagement module, which automates the submission of service requests to city staff for action, best met the needs of the city. And 2 examples are seen behind me, which would be the City of Palo Alto and the City of Thousand Oaks implementation of this module. Also, Civica's My Portal and the City of Santa, the City of Santa Barbara's version of My SB is shown behind me. Let's go back just one. One more. There we are. Yeah. So this is the My SB, the My Portal, and in this example here, again, City of Santa Barbara, this is their My SB portal, and again, the visitor can customize their visit to the web page by having their own custom landing page, so they can modify their pages, their favorite pages, modify the charms bar, follow news and calendar feeds, and set notifications. And this is customized just for that particular visitor. Also, Civica's content management tools, which is used to edit the web pages, their emergency notification and alert tools, calendar features, and Civica's project development implementation plan best met San Bruno's needs and vision of the redesigned website, and they also seemed like they were the best qualified for our redesign partner. A few of the local clients of Civica include the City of Palo Alto, the City of Livermore, and the City of Mountain View. The website redesign project will also merge or integrate 3 websites, including the San Bruno Cable TV website, sanbrunocable.com, our community development website, planbruno.org, and the San Bruno Water website, sanbrunowater.ca.gov. If approved, an online survey will be added to our existing website to obtain feedback from our citizens of requested features and services. And shortly thereafter, an analysis of the survey data and decisions made regarding content migration, layout, and design features will occur quickly. And as mentioned in the study sessions held in December, not all the features in the RFP will be implemented. A realistic study of the actual value to our citizens and a study of the staff resources needed or required to maintain the website features must be evaluated. But the comprehensive RFP specification should allow us the flexibility to implement as many features as desired without additional cost. And the project is estimated to take approximately 24 weeks from kickoff in early February to August of 2015. And the committee, we purposely dedicated more time on the specifications of the RFP so that the upcoming development and implementation stages would move along more quickly and smoothly. The 2014 and 2019 Capital Improvement Program budget includes $90,000 to cover the cost of the website project. The first year's annual maintenance is included in the project contract amount. The following years will be $11,760 per year for the maintenance and support and $4,800 per year for the hosting services. The website committee is appreciative of the council's support for being a proponent of this long-awaited project. This concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to take any questions or comments at this time.
Any questions for staff?
Through the chair.
Michael.
Can you repeat the numbers that you just gave us there at the end regarding the hosting, the breakdown of what it's going to cost to host and what it's going to cost for maintenance?
Right. The first year's maintenance and support is included in the contract amount.
Okay. 16,000.
Yeah. Subsequent years for maintenance and support is $11,760 per year, and our web hosting services are $4,800 per year.
$4,800 per year. And what do we currently pay for web hosting?
Right now, the hosting is done in-house.
So
there is no cost.
Okay. And what does the maintenance cover? You said that they would implement any of the additional features that were within the scope of the RFP at no charge. So what does the maintenance cover? Is that additional changes, ongoing changes, or?
That will cover software upgrades to their content management system. Again, problems with pages loading, problems with us implementing different features. Most of that will be covered under the support and maintenance contract.
Okay. So city staff will be responsible for the content, for updating it, keeping it current. The maintenance is just for supporting their back-end structure.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Through the chair? Oh.
Irene?
Sorry. So Eric, will there be a time period where we kind of test run it and then make suggestions or have an ability to make suggestions for changes and then launch it? Is there going to be that kind of thing? I mean, the council particularly?
Yeah, that will probably be the longest part of this project, is getting the design and layout and content migration features implemented and also testing. And we welcome any comments from the council, and we also will have the online survey available for our citizens and visitors to make comments and suggestions regarding the features and services they might want.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little unclear on how this is going to work. So so you've put in your RFP, they're going to design it around what we've asked them to do, and then is that like a draft kind of thing? And then people are going to respond to that? Or?
Well, yeah, the RFP states they have to provide 3 templates of the design that they envision for us. And keep in mind that this is still going to be our project. We own the project.
Right.
And we can reject their proposals. And we have quite a few very creative people on the committee that we are hopeful will assist with us getting that appealing design and a nice, attractive look and feel to the website. Yeah, are you referring to more like a beta test?
I suppose so. I'm not sure what a beta test is.
What, you don't know
So,
what a beta test is?
so they do all that, and then are the residents and the council are going to be able to see those and say, I like A over B, B over C, or is that going to be done in-house and then
We could
launched?
probably, yeah, we could do it probably several ways. We can come back and give you status updates and let you know where we are in the milestones. And at that time, the council, again, you're welcome to come in and submit comments and assist us with the overall completion of the product before it's launched.
Okay, so yes, I am asking for an opportunity to come in and say, no, really, Eric, not this one, or at least that's my opinion of it. So you'll be able to set that up for us and let us know when we can come in?
Definitely welcome, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken?
I just want to say that while you were speaking, I went on to Thousand Oaks. That's what I want. That's what I want. I mean, it was so smooth. I mean, it is, I don't know what it is. It's just, everything is there that whatever I want to go towards.
It's easy on the eyes.
It's easy on the eyes, and all the pull-down panel, it's exactly what I'm looking for, it seems. I mean, now until I can't find something. But it's so much better than ours because, one, you've got the delay factor, the difficulty in pull down and finding, and this has got everything here. And I remember you saying that was probably one of your favorites. And then you go to Santa Barbara and those things load so easily and everything is just right there in that front page. And I think that's what we're lacking, is what the public really wants to see when they go on the website, for just that first impression. And majority of the people are going to have everything right there in their first look, and then being able to navigate fairly easily.
Yeah, if you have
This touch stuff is, can be sensitive, but this is just so easy.
Yeah. If you have an attractive front page, people will stay, and they will stay and find or look for the services that you offer, and that's what we want. We want people to be engaged in the website. We want them to come to the website, stay, find out what we offer, and use those services.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Rico?
Robert Rico, 7th Avenue. Just a real quick question. I read the agenda packet, but I don't understand is a web page ADA compliant? Can you just take a minute or so and simply tell me what ADA compliance relates to on a web page?
Well, I'm not the expert, but I do know that part of the ADA compliance requirements is that those with disabilities or who are visually impaired are able to use readers, devices that are called readers, and those readers will read the page content. That is why early on, even in our current website, when we create a page, we have what's called an alternate text. And we type in that text box what the web page is. I'll give you an example. For the for the council web pages, for the agenda, we type in their regular council agenda and the date. So if a reader goes by that page, and even though our page is old, they'll know what that page represents. That's part of the ADA compliance. And also, if you see on some of the websites that were examples here, some of the boxes would show a small a, a medium-sized A, and a larger A. You can click on that, and the text will get larger. So again, I'm not the expert, but I know enough to make sure that we put those things in the RFP to make sure we're going to be serving our citizens well.
Good. Thank you. Anyone else? Action by the council?
I'll introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell?
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra? Aye. Councilmember, Medina?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar?
Aye.
Mayor Ruane?
Aye. Item 10D, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with the EDCO Group, Inc. for implementation of the SCADA radio transmitter project in an amount not to exceed $184,791.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Jimmy Tan, City Engineer. SCADA, the acronym is the acronym for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. It is an integral water and wastewater system management component as it provides the staff with real-time information and to assess the facility's function 365 days a year. It also provides the ability to perform real-time monitoring and obtain early warnings and control the facilities without having to be on site. The SCADA was implemented back in 2007, and city operations staff has been using it to remotely control, manage tank levels, water system pressures, well levels in sewer pump stations, and operations of the pumps at pumping facilities. Here's a snapshot of what the SCADA interface looks like as if the operations staff was to use it. You can see the tank levels that are there for, let's say, for College 9 and 10, about 23.7 feet for those tanks. If the pumps are on, it indicates as being a green. And so the operations staff is able to come into the interface and to make sure that the tank levels are, maintained in accurate levels. If there's tank that, levels goes down, then the SCADA will provide an alarm to the operations staff as well. So the city currently has two sources of data communication transmission for the SCADA system. One is primary and the other one is secondary to assure uninterrupted data transmission service. The secondary measure is similar to the backup standby generator where we had to use it today, similar when the power main electrical service kind of failed. The San Bruno cable broadband network is the primary means of data transmission, and it will remain as is. Currently, the backup is the AT&T dial-up modem telephone system. This project will be replacing the current dial-up modem system with the radio transmission network because it has experienced repeated downtimes and has been non-operational at several facilities. Once the project is implemented, the radio transmission will serve as a backup to the cable broadband network. The city issued an RFP for the integration of the SCADA project and received two proposals. Staff received a limited number of proposals due to the specialized type of work for this project, and we evaluate the consultant's qualifications and the scope of work to determine whether it meets the city requirements. Based on the evaluation, staff is recommending EDCO Group to provide the implementation of the SCADA project, the SCADA radio transmitter project. EDCO is a qualified firm as it specializes in SCADA and has extensive experience with through the previous work with the city's water and wastewater facilities. It also provided other city agencies throughout the peninsula with the integration of the SCADA work, such as Redwood City, San Carlos. The total number of 17 water and 5 sewer facilities will be integrated with the new radio communication system. The scope of work includes providing new PLC that are antiquated, new touch panels for operations staff and the SCADA radios and antennas, and performing the radio surveys, applying for the FCC license, and developing testing plans and providing electrical design as well. Upon completion of this project, the city will have a reliable network backup that is capable of transmitting communication without failure. Staff is anticipating this project to be completed by July 2015. And as part of this work, we'll be coming back to council for the electrical contractors services, where we would have to put out a contract documents for installation of the conduits and antennas and antenna masts and cables. So the staff is anticipating to award that in May council meeting. So there are sufficient funds for this project approved under the 2014-15 CIP. The project funding was provided entirely for the water enterprise fund, but to accurately account for the SCADA integration of both the water and wastewater facilities, staff has recommended to appropriate $65,000 in the wastewater capital funds and reduce the water capital portion by the same amount as well. and that is always already reflected in the 2014-15 CIP. So therefore, staff is recommending to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with the ECHO Group for implementation of the SCADA radio transmitter project in an amount not to exceed $184,791.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Michael?
Thank you. I didn't quite get the numbers. So the request is for 184,000. The insert here from the CIP is for 375K over both enterprise funds. What was the change?
So the change that's being proposed is $65,000 from each of the water and the sewer enterprises, so it's a source of funds. But the total cost of the project includes additional components of work. This contract is for the design and implementation of the SCADA. There is an additional contract, at least one additional contract, for electrical connection work that will be presented to the City Council subsequently. So that's why the total dollar amount budgeted for the project exceeds the amount of this particular contract.
Okay. But then is the total project then still approximately 375,000? Is that what we're going to be budgeting for?
Yes.
When it's all said and done. Okay. All right, thank you.
Anything else? Yes?
Hi, Jim Evangelist, 105 DeSoto Way. I think that the SCADA program's really beneficial to the city in running both water and wastewater. We've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this system since 2007. But I think what the council has probably not appreciated fully is these special tools are also designed to be labor saving. And by that I mean you can actually eliminate labor that used to be dedicated to maintaining and overseeing these facilities and hand it off to different crew members or even management level, because now it's done on a laptop. And yet we still maintain a certain number of pump mechanics. In fact, are training a new replacement right now. So I think that I would like to see the council members see if they can understand why that's still taking place. In the city of Foster City, they have 76 pump stations. They have no pump mechanics because the crews, through the SCADA system, they don't physically visit the facilities that much anymore. They do it on the laptop. And it's one thing to spend a lot of money on real good technology, but it's another thing not to identify that this is also meant to be cost-saving measures for the ratepayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Rico?
That's a question. Do we have any response?
We don't have a response right now. I think there are numbers of responsibilities that are assigned to the pump mechanics position, and so we can certainly evaluate the suggestion that Mr. Evangelist has made and provide additional information to the City Council.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because obviously we're always looking for efficiencies and effectiveness. And and it was brought up in the study session, if you're not going to do this, then what is going to be done in its place, either by persons or by costs? So is there any, shall we say, efficiencies that are gained through this good system that we might see?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we're clear that this, the action that's before you tonight is for a change to the redundant backup for the communication system. SCADA has been in operation in the city for a number of years. There is no change to the utilization or the deployment of staff that's being proposed as part of this contract action. So I would encourage your consideration of the contract, and if your interest is as suggested by Mr. Evangelist, that we reevaluate the deployment of staff and the manner in which SCADA information is managed and utilized, we're certainly happy to do that. That would be a different evaluation.
And that's perfect, as long as I think we're always looking for what we can do better and improve with the technology that it provides us.
Great.
Through the chair,
Michael.
one follow-up question. So still looking at the CIP sheet that's in here, I noticed there was nothing really appropriated for it in any of the years. This is a backup system that we're talking about, so we have a decrepit, sometimes failing backup system, but we're still relying on a primary system, which is our cable, which we do invest a lot in that plant. So I'm wondering why at this point is this why is it critical now that we address this backup system for communication?
The operations staff has mentioned that the backup system has been failing at several locations, and so to provide a redundancy and to provide better communications in the SCADA system, the radio transmission network is the industry standard for the SCADA network, and that's the reason why we're bringing this project forward to you today.
So to put the question a different way, how many instances have we had where we have completely lost communication to any one of the facilities?
To my knowledge, there's about 5 different times of incidents throughout the years.
And we've had both the primary system and the backup system fail?
No, it's just the backup system that has failed.
Just the backup system?
Correct.
Okay. Because to me, it seems like it's a nice to have, but maybe at this point, when we are dealing with so many other things, it might be a little bit of a luxury item. Thank you.
Questions or action by the council?
Just real quick, is this something that we would also do in equipment reserve, as we do with others, these type of items, when we start having these large investments in technical aspects? Because obviously they're going to need to be replaced at some point and comes back, or is it just mainly just our vehicles?
So normally the enterprise funds fund their capital projects or capital purchases directly because they have the money to do that. The replacement fund is for general fund or special revenue fund type of purchases. So that's why when I say that it'll level out departments, it's usually the general fund, and that's where you don't want the spikes.
Anything else? Action by the council?
I'll introduce the resolution. Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
No.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Item 10E, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Moffitt and Nickel to provide technical assistance for the FEMA San Francisco Bay Coastal Study in the amount of $20,720 and appropriating funds in this amount from the Stormwater Fund to the Stormwater Program operating budget.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA, recently completed an engineering study of the San Francisco Bay, which included a detailed analysis of the coastal hazards as part of the California Coastal Analysis and Mapping project. The study was part of FEMA's nationwide risk mapping assessment and planning program to determine the extent of the special flood hazard areas for coastal communities and to update the flood insurance study reports and the FIR maps, which is known as the flood insurance rate maps. They studied 9 different counties, such as San Mateo, San Francisco, Santa Clara, Marin, Contra Costa. According to FEMA, these coastal flood maps hasn't been updated since the 1980s. For their assessment, they used various different tide gauges and storm information from the past 30 years to perform their evaluation. They also used recent topo data for elevations back from 2010 and 2011, collected from the USGS and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA. With these data, they performed hydraulic modeling and engineering analysis to determine, and generate these wave models of the San Francisco Bay. And the evaluation does not include, the effects from tsunamis or the sea level rise, but it mainly evaluated the wave action from like storm surges and swells and wave run-up, and these overtopping of waves above these structures, just like levees, and to predict the potential for these water to inundate the land areas that are nearby. Late last year, FEMA provided the results of these analysis to various agencies for review and to see comments. They only provided the agency with just maps only. Just going to show you the maps that the city has received from FEMA. So the results of the study identify some potential flood hazard areas in San Bruno. The majority of the affected area is comprised of residential properties located on the west side of 101 and south of Interstate 380. It's the first time that the city has been kind of involved with the FEMA process. When these maps becomes effective, properties shown in the flood, these FIR maps will be required to purchase flood insurance if the property has a federally regulated or insured lender loans. So the staff has already reviewed these the maps and provided comments to FEMA and for clarifications. Since this is an important issue not only for the city but for the residents, staff is recommending to seek assistance to verify and understand the technical evaluation conducted by FEMA, and to develop additional comments and propose mitigations to send to FEMA for the process of appeal. FEMA has given the city provide additional written comments up until February 16th. I will be showing you a schedule after that and what it entails. So currently, staff has sought the proposal from Moffett & Nichol to provide the technical assistance. Moffett & Nichol is an engineering firm that has the experience doing hydraulic analysis and performing these technical evaluations. They're already performing the sea level rise study for the county. They're also under contract with San Francisco Airport for to evaluate the firm maps for them as well. And they've also have experience engaging with FEMA on these flood topics. The scope includes coordinating and obtaining information from FEMA and to review these documents and providing comments and feedback back to FEMA regarding the affected areas that we have here in San Bruno. And a technical memorandum will be provided as part of the study. The remaining schedule, currently the deadline for the initial commenting period was back in December 17th. In 2015, FEMA will be releasing the preliminary maps, and then there will be a 90 days appeal period between October 15th through January 16th. And the final map will be issued in May 2016, and then the new maps will be effective in September 2016. So the cost for the services, it's $20,720. Although it's within the city manager's approved limit, staff is bringing to council today because there's really no funding to cover the cost of this contract, and the city manager may have some additional comments on this as well. There is a balance of approximately $100,000 in unappropriate funds in the stormwater fund, and staff is recommending an appropriation of an amount sufficient to cover the cost of this contract from the stormwater fund to the stormwater operating budget. So therefore, staff is recommending the council to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Moffett & Nichol to provide technical assistance for the FEMA San Francisco Bay Coastal Study in an amount of $20,720.
Any questions of staff or Connie?
If I might just add briefly, as the Deputy Director has indicated, this is an urgent and we believe very important issue that needs our attention. Otherwise, we wouldn't bring it to you, and unfortunately, we're bringing it to you in a little bit of a piecemeal manner because we have an immediate deadline for some additional comments. We want to make sure those comments are complete and robust enough to represent the city's urgent concern about making sure we understand and can address any potential flood hazards and the impacts that that may create for our residents as this process moves forward. What I wanted you to know and understand, though, is that at this point, we do anticipate the potential need for additional funding and additional consulting assistance to be able to assist us potentially in developing proposals or alternatives to present to FEMA as this process moves forward. But we're unable at this time to give you a good assessment of whether we will need to move in that direction, and if so, how much it might cost. So we wanted to get this to you quickly, make sure we're able to respond appropriately by the February 16th deadline, and then simply know that this will be an issue that will be on your radar screen going forward over the next 9 to 12 months as this process unfolds, with the potential for additional technical assistance needed.
Okay. Any questions of staff?
Through
Ken?
the chair? Oh.
Yeah. Ken?
I don't doubt that it's important, and I don't understand why FEMA has a report and now we have to hire consultants to deal with the report. I mean, we're not on an island here either. I'm sure there's, maybe Moffett and Nickel, they're working with the airport already. Who else are they working with? They're probably working with South City. Who's Millbrae hiring? Who is San Carlos hiring? Who's Burlingame hiring? All of these cities that surround and touch the bay are probably in the same boat. I mean, why isn't someone maybe in the county screaming, why don't we form a JPV or something? We're all going to be doing our own little thing, and it's probably going to be a lot of information that's going to be interpreted the same way. And then sea level rise is going to come along, and they're going to, now we're going to be, dealing with that consultant possibly for that also. Why? Why? It just seems that in a county of 20 cities, and then how many other cities that surround this bay, we're dealing with this stuff separately. I mean, has that question ever come up?
Councilman Rivera. Right. Each city has its own situation here. For example, our neighboring city, South San Francisco, they don't have the impact that we're going to be experiencing with the residential houses coming into the flood, 100-year flood, and being required to have the flood insurance. They had the Colma Creek improvements from the Colma Creek Flood Control District, and actually because of that, several parts of the city came out of the flood, so they're in a better position. The problem is that because that flood control district actually did improvement to Colma Creek, the flooding actually came down more towards the bay. So now, adding that to the sea rise, as well as the wave action that's brand new into this flood control study, we're going to have certain areas of the city that goes into the 100-year flood and will be subject to the insurance. So each city will be a little bit different along the peninsula surrounding the bay. But you are correct. There are many cities that are going to get impacted. The levels of impact is going to be vastly different from one city to another. Some cities will have areas that will be excluded now from the 100-year flood, and some will be adding areas. And it's unfortunate for us that this area just east of San Mateo Avenue, in the avenue areas east of the Caltrain towards 101 will be included, and we have to be prepared for that. Yeah.
I'm fully aware of the issues in San Mateo also with their flood control district and everything. So I'm just saying that it's not just confined to our boundaries, and I realize that there's going to be different characteristics to issues in each town, in each city. But we're responding to a federal agency, and everyone's doing this, there's probably going to be duplicate work. I'm sure there is.
We can certainly take a look at that. As the director indicated, the issues are very different, and at this point, we've actually, given the tight timeline and our relative unfamiliarity with this process, we've spent the last 2 months really scrambling to become familiar with the process and the people and how to deal with the situation. So we have not as yet broadly explored what other cities are doing. We're familiar with a couple of the adjacent agencies, San Francisco Airport, South San Francisco, but we can certainly pursue that a little bit further. I will tell you that this issue is a high priority on the radar screen of our county supervisor, Dave Pine, and his office. They've brought some useful information to us, and we will be working with them as well with their leadership on the sea level rise issue, and we will certainly explore through them and with our colleagues to see whether there's an opportunity to coordinate and collaborate.
Any other questions?
Through the chair.
Michael?
The city manager made a reference to a February deadline, but I don't see that on that timeline. Can you repeat what that deadline was?
Correct, and the city had been notified by FEMA a lot later than what the other agencies had been notified, so the FEMA has given the city an extension to provide the comments back to them. So even though it was the December 17th deadline, we're given additional 30 days up until January 16th. And from there on, we were also given additional 30 days up until February to provide additional comments that we may have.
Okay. And compared to the previous map that was done back in the 80s, I'm assuming this is dramatically different because we don't have really anything to compare to other than what you showed us there with the red area. But there was some localized flooding there, I'm assuming.
To our knowledge, no portion of San Bruno was included in the previous maps, and again, only to our knowledge, no portion of San Bruno has ever been included in the flood rate area maps.
Okay.
So this is a brand new situation for us, and not a welcome one.
Okay.
It's certainly one that requires our urgent and strategic and attention with a high level of technical understanding.
Okay. And is there any opportunity to piggyback on what the airport is doing regarding their study? Because it definitely borders that area that they're calling out.
The director may have indicated, or the deputy director may have indicated in his report that Moffitt and Nichol is actually contracted, and this goes to Councilmember Rivera's comments. Moffitt and Nichol is the firm that is contracted to San Francisco Airport in dealing with these same issues relative to their inundation area on the FEMA maps. Similarly, Moffitt and Nichol is also contracted to the Sea Level Rise Task Force Working Group that is doing some analysis on that related but different topic. And so we felt that going straight to them, it turns out that South San Francisco is using another technical advisor, but given the proximity and the potential for familiarity, a detailed level of familiarity with this area and the issues that may be impactful to the FEMA analysis, we thought we would just go straight to Moffitt and Nichol and take advantage of their local area familiarity as well as their technical expertise.
Okay. Thank you.
One last thing is once this map comes out, how are we going to communicate to the public? How does this at this stage affect the residents in that area?
Sure. Well, at this point, the FEMA process provides for the public portion of the process for the maps to be finalized and for public communication, both via FEMA but also via the city, because we want to make sure that that it's explained to residents should the maps stay as they are or significantly as they are. That process would not be ready to roll out until late summer, is my understanding. Is that correct? That's correct. So you see on the timeline here, June of 2015 is when FEMA proposes, according to the current schedule, to release, and that would be meaning publicly release, the preliminary flood insurance rate maps. So in that timeline and continuing for the next approximately 6 months is the timeline for public outreach, education, and communication.
We're under the gun.
We're very much under the gun.
Okay, so there's really not going to be anything reported back, so this, from what this consultant will do and how we respond back in the middle of February.
Not between now and February. What we would anticipate as a result of this initial work effort would be some strategic advice about whether there is a potential for us possibly to move to an additional level of work effort to develop proposed scenarios, proposed physical improvements that might be compelling to FEMA to mitigate some of the inundation concerns that the maps currently suggest.
Okay, any other questions? Okay.
I'll introduce the resolution. Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye. Item 11, report of commissions, boards, and committees. We already heard the report. 12, comments from council members. Ken?
I passed out a flyer to my colleagues. I do want to extend an invitation to the kickoff party for Relay for Life, which will be at our new partner, YouTube, on 901 Cherry Avenue, and festivities start at 6:30 and will last for a couple hours. But I think it's the relay is still scheduled for April 25th, but this is our relay where we're going to ramp up our, how we're going to be dealing with the public and dealing with survivors and making the whole community come together in an effort to, again, further Relay for Life and, be successful in fighting cancer. So a week from Thursday at YouTube, 901 Cherry, doors open 6:30.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Item 13, closed session. We'll be going to closed session to conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency designated representative is the city manager and assistant city manager. Employee organization is the police bargaining unit. And item number 14 is adjournment to the next city council meeting right here, February 10th.